supply blocked, and supply blocked very badly. Hasn't even started a supply depot, now putting up 2 at once, but that's going to set him back considerably at a time when he especially doesn't need that to happen.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate how much he's been supply blocked, just putting him back so far. You can see he's actually expanding to the top left now, which is not a bad choice, whereas his opponent actually expanding at a very similar time just to his in-base natural expansion. And moving out with the dropship here too, full of 8 Marines, and this could do quite a bit of damage if he just keeps it out of vision and pops right into the main. Could at least just pull all of the units out of position for Trimaster, and you can see that, I mean, just with the amount of times he's been supply capped, he's having a hard time multitasking, so if Railgun, can keep up harassment, it's going to be good. And here we go. The medevac does get taken out, though, and the Marines not really going to be doing much damage at all.
No, that was 4 Marines and a medevac that were sniped by that missile turret. So a nice little win there for Trimaster as that, I don't want to say evens up the supply, but certainly does help his cause a little bit. He is still down by 25 supply, most of that in workers, down by 16. Of course, he'll start to even that up a little bit when he gets to this 3rd command center up and going on a full mineral and full gas expansion. But just coming out for Railgun now, he is going to an armory. I'm actually going to take a look around. He only has the 1 engineering bay that I see at the moment. He has already researched weapons. Yes, weapons level 1. He is going to armor level 1, and now moving out with a huge group of Marines for a little bit. Not actually pulling any of his siege tanks at the moment, just moving with these Marines.
Yeah, it looks like he's aware that his opponent is really putting a lot of effort into controlling these Zelnaga towers, so he's just going to go ahead and move out with his Marines. Meanwhile, Trimaster is actually inching up with his siege tanks, and now Railgun's going to need to be very careful not to get baited into the tank fire, and he does take some pretty heavy damage there, but doesn't lose too many of his Marines. Meanwhile, he is bringing his own siege tanks up, and it's going to be very difficult to inch up. He might actually opt just to go all the way around and take out those destructible debris, but of course Trimaster is controlling all of the Zelnaga towers, so he can actually see a ton of what is going on in the center of the map right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and with that vision, it's going to be very difficult for him to actually take this, unless he wants to walk around to all those towers and actually pick off the Marines there, which he might. Ooh, he actually does drop down. He is going to pick off that Marine over at the western Zelnaga tower, dropping down all of his units on the low ground to provide a little bit of a flank, maybe just to start chewing through these destructible rocks.
Marines charging into the main of Railgun, but actually getting cleaned up pretty decisively, and I don't know, it looks like actually more Marines now from Trimaster charging into tanks, sieging up. Marines here to deflect that, and the tank gets taken out, and these Marines taking out the Banshee as well, doing a lot of damage. Very nice job actually from Trimaster, closing the gap in supply a little bit here.
Yeah, that actually does a whole lot. And but there's a huge trap going into Trimaster's main as well. These Marines are running in. Let's see exactly what they're able to take out. Looks like they're going, not really knowing what they're going after. Going after a couple of different things at once. Kind of the supply depot, kind of this factory. Now they're finally starting to kill a few Marines, but the siege tank is already up. That supply depot is on fire. Now he's going to move into the main, into the mineral line, try and do some damage, but the Marines are so low on health that the SCVs are going to be able to clear them up. And that was really odd, deciding not to commit to anything and not really taking all that much out.
Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't, if he had just made a beeline directly for the mineral line, he would have done an ungodly amount of damage, but obviously his attention was elsewhere at the time, and so that got deflected pretty well. Meanwhile, he's inching his siege tanks up, taking a lot of hits here, both players scanning, and 2 medevacs coming in. Looks like he wants to drop directly on top of these very exposed tanks. Nice control here from Railgun, and losing these tanks is going to set Trimaster back so far.
Yeah, and that actually could prove to be pretty decisive in this entire engagement, because now Railgun can move up with just a few Marines and pick off the rest of those units. Now up by 60 supply, playing very well. And we'll see if he starts inching his way into Trimaster's natural here. It looks like that is exactly what he wants to do. However, Trimaster has these siege tanks ready, but Railgun not deterred, moving up with those Marines. God, he's actually taking a lot of damage. Those Marines are going down very quickly. All the SCVs being pulled for Trimaster, but Railgun has his siege tank sieged as well. But Trimaster has 8 kills on the 1 siege tank. He is going to continue to go after those units, picking up siege tank after siege tank. And it looks like he's going to steal a few more Marine kills as well. Now up to 10 kills. An engineering bay does fall for Trimaster, though. And Railgun has his work cut out for him, trying to break in, but smartly loading up all these medevacs now that the missile turrets are down, and he's going to drop right on top of the siege tanks.
Yeah, it looks like that dropping on top of the tanks is going to work fairly well, but he keeps moving the medevacs, not really letting them heal, but this is giving him a chance to inch up his siege tanks, and with this expansion completely disabled, it's almost looking impossible for Trimaster to come back, but of course he does have that top left expansion. Unfortunately, it is really just not saturated at all, and there's just an endless supply of Marines coming, stemming up, charging more in, and there's just no way for Trimaster to get enough tanks to be able to hold this off, and it looks like the series is going to be getting tied up at 1-1.
Yeah, right now, Trimaster down by almost 100 supply, going to lose this natural. He's producing a few Marines out of the barracks in the top left-hand corner. I don't know if he's going to try for a little last-ditch effort, but that orbital command does fall down right at the seams. The factory going to go down as well. Not much being mined here over at Trimaster's main. There is one siege tank ready to go, picking off a couple of kills. These destructible debris going to go down fairly quickly, and Railgun could move in pretty decisively for the kill, as he has about 4 to 5 times the army of his opponent at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like he might ferry one medevac onto the high ground here, and not too sure. It looks like, I guess, he's just pretty keen to just be passively playing. He knows that, he took out that natural. He knows that the in-base natural isn't taken, and actually that medevac is heading, and it looks like it's going to be... Actually, he has scanned that northern expansion, so he sees that. Meanwhile, there's also a counterattack going on in Railgun's natural. That gets cleaned up, and with this massive amount of Marines pushing into the main, looks like Trimaster is going to need to tap out pretty soon here.
Yeah, he's now down by over 100 food. He has only 16 workers to the 65 of his opponent. He has a small force of Marines up at the top left, but there's no way he's going to be able to catch up in production at this point. Trimaster picking up his orbital command, but that's getting obliterated by these Marines. That's going to fall down very soon. The rest of these supply depots going down as well. Trimaster not really producing anything at his main, just running up the last few Marines that he produced over at his top left expansion, I guess for a one last hurrah, but his entire base is destroyed. His opponent now at 166 supply to 35, and Railgun is going to take this set for NYU, evening this up 1-1 here as soon as Trimaster decides to tap out.
Yeah, Railgun just played actually a very, very, very nice game here. You know, those early Reapers just put him so far ahead. You know, killing that one first Reaper just because he got to scout his opponent's tech lab, put him so far ahead, and then he just delayed the natural expansion of his opponent for so long. And he just played a nice, calm, safe TVT, and it was very, very well done. So it looks like the series is going to be tied up at 1-1 as we head into the 2v2 pretty soon here.
And Trimaster actually producing another command center. He did just finish that. No engineering bay down, so he can't make it in base planetary fortress, unfortunately. But looks like Railgun is going to push up here in a second, possibly. There's nothing but Marines up, so he could move in pretty decisively for the kill. There's another couple of factories coming up. There's the scan. Railgun sees exactly what Trimaster has. Here comes Railgun. He's going to move in. There's the stim. Here he comes, crushing the rest of the forces. Trimaster running out with whatever he can, and there's the GG. So Railgun evening up the series 1-1 here for NYU.
Yeah, absolutely great game there. I really enjoyed the early Reaper control from Railgun, just basically flawless, not overcommitting, delaying that command center so long. It was really just a beautiful thing to see. So we'll have to see how the 2v2 is going to be playing out, because 2v2, man, anything can happen. It's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I've seen, 2v2 really requires a dedicated 2v2 team. I know that sounds odd, but I've seen two guys that go into it. They're playing two Masters-level players that have never played 2v2. They don't have the strategies worked out, and they're Platinum and Diamond, but they're a really coordinated, good 2v2 team. They know the strategies, they know the maps, and they're able to take them out. So certainly anything could happen, and does promise to be an exciting set of matches. Let's see.
Yeah, especially on Warzone. I love watching 2v2s on Warzone just because the shared bases and the very close expansions that are actually, within the central choke point you're generally defending makes for usually much longer games. Of course, proxies can still be quite threatening, as they always are in 2v2.
Okay, so we're going to be back, guys, in just 1 second, and starting that 2v2 here. Okay, so Gila Boy is in. He'll be handing it over to us here in just a second. Okay, so it looks like we're back, guys. And we'll see if our, looks like Gila Boy is going to jump out here for a second. Looks like Racky Chan, an odd number, Lucky Eddie, Chinese wife already. So GLHF to our players, and let's get this next match started here. Game number 3 of a CSL matchup between University of Houston and New York University. All right, we begin recording here in 3, 2, well, maybe not. Looks like I'm locked up.
Uh-oh.
Or are you locked up? There we go.
It was you lagging. Looks like it cleared up.
Okay, good. Ha! Well, not good, but we'll start recording here in 3, 2, 1, mark. So thanks, guys, again for joining me. This is the Cat's Pajamas here with Adebisi. We are broadcasting game number 3 of a matchup between University of Houston and New York University, a round of 32 playoff match here at the Collegiate Star League. Here on the top left-hand corner of Warzone, we have Daniel Chen, an odd number, representative of University of Houston. And his brother, I believe twin, actually, yes, is his partner here in the top right-hand corner, David Chen, Lucky Eddie. And these guys just play mostly CSL and stuff like that. Lucky Eddie is strictly a 2v2 player. He has a 3-5 record at the moment. An odd number is also strictly a 2v2 player. He is 4-5. He has a 4-5 record. Oh, yeah, my note's saying there right at the end with an exclamation mark. These two are twins. So there we go, answering my own question. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner for NYU, we have Connor O'Brien going by Chinese wife, his partner. In the bottom right-hand corner is Gracky Chan, Zhangji Qi. Cracky Chan is a 2000 Masters Zerg with a 58% win rate on Battle.net. He has only played 1 2v2 for the CSL prior to this, but he did win. Chinese wife, on the other hand, a 3000 Masters Protest with a 53% win rate on ladder. His 2v2 record in the CSL is 6-3. So odd number and Lucky Eddie starting the game by walling off that wide ramp at the front of their combined main there.
Yeah, great choice to wall off. I mean, against a Zerg player, you really want to be doing that. We already see Gracky Chain did open with a 10 pool, 10 gas, so he's going to be getting some Zerglings out very, very fast, and Zergling speed up very, very fast. So that's definitely going to be putting the pressure on, and the faster this wall can get up, the better it will be for the northern team here. We see both the Gateway and the Barracks have finished probe on the way to getting a Cybernetics core up, but the Lings are already out. 4 Zerglings on the way. Zergling speed started as well.
Yeah, I'm curious what this Protoss versus Zerg combination is going to do. Is a lot of prevailing 2v2 strategy from that I've seen with my admittedly limited understanding of 2v2 is this nice little Overlord that's sitting here around the right side of the base is just going to provide vision for a pylon that's going to eventually be sitting at the top. And we'll see, if that ends up, being a warp-in of Zealots into the main, bypassing this wall altogether. I guess it's really going to be a question of what Chinese wife decides to go into. But there's gateways 2, 3, and 4. So this is going to be some form of 4 warp gate rush, more than likely going to be that warp-in around the side, as an odd number and Lucky are really throwing everything they've got into this wall at the front. If something bypasses them, could be very deadly.
Yeah, it looks like an extremely early stim as well. Meanwhile, on odd numbers, adding 2 more barracks, and this is what they're going to need to do because they are going to need a ton of units to be able to defend this 4-gate, as that proxy pylon is getting put up, but is there an Overlord in position actually to provide vision? Looks like on the right side of the map, yeah, there's the Overlord moving up, and that one pylon might actually just be a bit of a fake.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's just going to be to reinforce just in case something goes wrong. Looks like Lucky Eddie is already positioning a probe, and a pilot